I'm trying to go live just so we can get some people back in here.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're live once again. Nigga see the show part 2. We probably fucked up. I don't know. They fucking put our stream down. Hopefully you guys jump in here real quick.
Like somebody said it in the stream, or you saw it that it got taken off. Let me just.
I just saw the chat, bro. Everyone was like, bro, the stream is dead. Holy shit. So we were still streaming on like Facebook and Twitter. I think the video's down though. Who knows? But we need to get people back in here. I think the video is the video still available?
This is the video right here.
Yeah, so I think the video's still up. All right, cool. So we can call this part 2. two. YouTube fucked us up because we was having a good time. We was listening to George Carlin. We listened to comedy. Man, I'm hanging out with CJ, listening to comedy. And YouTube was like, no.
Let's play it. I'm playing it right here. This is it. This is it, Nick. This is
YouTube said I say he made.
This is where they cut us off. Look, stream unavailable. Right here, like right in it. So they cut us off. I had talked like 2 minutes after that. We were. They cut us off right here.
Play that video again. They cut up that video. Nah, bro. Nah, cuz hold up. They cut up the video right when we
yes. Like when.
Man,
why would you do that? Like what,
bro? What?
It says suspended for policy violation. What the hell?
Bro, I said they probably mad because we watch George Carlin. That's probably why. But fuck it, I regret nothing.
But they're saying like what? Like if there's anyone watching, if you could put in the notes, is what policy could we have broken by playing a video? Like we would just not get money off of it. Oh, copyright. But we get that all the time when we play news clips. Oh, copyright. But they don't take it down. Do you understand, Nick, how like crazy this is that we have a free speech country and literally a George Carlin video or Black Panther, one of the two videos.
Like, I already know what you guys are gonna say. You guys are gonna say, "Oh, it's copyright laws," and you're right. But I'm saying this country fucking sucks, bro. You can't get on YouTube and watch George Carlin with your friend. Fuck it, man. This country sucks. So they got that to protect YouTube, but we don't got no worker protections. We don't
get copyright so that we don't make money off of it. Like we could play a video. Like we could play a video,
bro.
It's
like the thing
garbage.
The thing is, I knew we might get in trouble for playing it, but I'm like, all right, they can just demonetize it. Like I already told you guys before, I don't look for it. I don't care about YouTube money. Insignificant. If you guys want to support us, the best way is like Patreon, direct donation, right? So like, my thing is, I play those videos because like I knew they might demonetize us, but like, who gives a fuck? I'd rather have a good time. And
we never care. We never care about that because literally, there's not enough money that comes from YouTube to really even care.
Yeah, like Jeremiah
about that. Yeah,
go ahead. You can read it. It's a
that is so bizarre that they would cut a stream off, man. That is so bizarre to me.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man. We got to play that video from the beginning because they cut it off, and they cut off when they was preaching the truth, and we can start that stream with that, and then we can get back into some story. That's wild, man. we having a good time.
Yeah, it's very fascism is already here. They're already isn't that one of the tenets of fascism? Silencing dissent.
They will never do that. The thing is, if CNN
that is crazy.
You know what pisses me off, and this is why it's censorship, despite what they fucking say. If CNN or MSNBC play a clip of George Carlin, they won't put that video down because they be like, "Oh, they're authoritarian news outlet, so they can play it," but we can't. Like that's just us reacting to that video. You have Joe Rogan; he fucking plays these reaction videos all the time on his podcast, but he can do it, but we can't. Don't you? I hope you guys. So you guys can't say that. Like you can't. You gotta justify your rules to me. You gotta justify your law, justify your rules. So you can say, "Oh my god, it's copyright," but I think it's bullshit. Just signs our country is fucking trash. But that's all I'm saying. It's trash, man. It's trash. They did the same thing to Jackson when they do that. But yeah.
So do you think it's for sure the George Carlin one? You think it's the George?
That'd be my guess. No one know for sure, but that'd be my guess because someone like stream unavailable. Yeah, bro.
Nick, a human had to have been watching that in order for that to have happened.
Also, here they got bots too. They got a lot of bots.
But I'm just saying, not this deep in the stream. Like we were an hour into the stream. There's the bot is not gonna.
Never.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. So that means that they're watching our streams to silence us. It's just amazing to me that people aren't up in arms about. Oh, we're a private business and we could do this, but look what you're choosing to silence. Is the question I'm saying, is the thing I'm trying to point out. Look what you're choosing to silence. Now, just think about the stream. For those who are watching now, who watched previously, think about the stream. What do we say? Anything violent? Do we promote violence? Do we promote, rape? Do we promote anything terrible? We are critiquing the establishment and their minions. That gets you taken off. That's violating some sort of policy. How you guys think that we're not going to get change without getting into the streets is beyond me. When they can just cut your stream.
And if you want to use capitalist logic, just like I said, just demonetize this. Because they do that before. That's what they usually do. They just say, "Oh, you got
all the time."
They'll say you got copyright violation. They just demonetize. They never just pulled us. So that's weird. But hey,
we have the emails, Nick. In the emails, it says it. It says copyright. You got a copyright. This is not a strike. Your video is going to stay up. It's just that if any money comes, it's going to them. That's literally what the email says.
Yeah. Why they didn't do it this time?
Because of what George Carlin is saying. He's letting the cat out of the bag. He's letting the cat out of the bag, or not letting it, but we're replaying gospel, and they can't have that, Nick. This failing empire is they are panicking at us. People like us, all these all these streamers are coming online and saying all this stuff about the establishment, about the duopoly, about capitalism, all this anti-capitalism sentiment. That's what we have that's going on. And then they use these things just like they do with the black community. Oh, civil assets forfeiture because you got this stuff illegally, when then that's not how it's applied. You get what I'm saying? That's not how it's applied. And it's just, this is disturbing to me. Very disturbing.
Yeah. I literally just had a conversation with Misty and Pasta from Combo Couch this Saturday. And the major theme of the show, we talk about how one of the biggest struggles the left had to focus on is the fight for the information war, the crackdown on freedom of press, and the collaboration between big tech and the government now that we see now. And now I know what you guys are saying. I hear and you guys saying it's against the rules, copyright and all that stuff. My only argument is I think that's bullshit. I think it's stupid.
Who was saying? Somebody saying that in the comments?
No, I'm saying that's why they did. They did it because
got you.
That's probably why they did, but I just think that's dumb. So you guys just want to shut down the free flow information, and it's not about money. If you guys want to say copyright, capitalist, all this shit, blah blah blah. Just like I said, demonetize it like you usually do. So anyway, I'm gonna move on because I actually want to go. You want to go play that clip again? I want to play that clip from the beginning.
Because I wanted to use that clip as the introduction to the article we were gonna cover. So that's why I was trying to play the clip, but now you think I should play it? You think we'll be good?
Yeah, I want to make sure we play that because they cut it off in the middle of that. So let's get into it. So we can commentate on it because we didn't get a chance to comment on it either. So we can get back. We can get right back into the flow. We can do another hour. We can just have 2 hours today, part 1 and part 2. I think that's what we're gonna do. So
I'm gonna play the wow, it's up on our Twitch, up on our Twitter. It shows like the clip. So I'm gonna play this clip. It's the Black Panther 10 points is what it's called. Now that I have it up where I can read the title. Hang on a second here. Oh, that's your article. Okay, so this is a different one. I had your article up also. Okay, here it goes. So let me scroll down and share this here. Okay, got it. All right, so let's play this one more time here.
I'm gonna just answer this question real quick.
Go ahead.
It's in the description. You guys can check out our Patreon, and also the best way to support the host is also by a direct donation. Buy us coffee. We got our Cashapp and Venmo as well. So that's the best way to support us for now. Appreciate it, brother.
Mm-hmm. So again, the title is The Black Panther Party's 10-point program explained. And that's what this video is. So let's 10-point program. So that's the Black Panther. I'm just checking the stream. I have the stream on behind me. I'm just gonna have it up to make sure it's not cut, or so I know when if it's cut. So that's the Black Panther 10-point plan. I actually like each one of those, Nick, and I thought it was a good segue for if we're going to go over your article right now. I don't know which one we're going to do, but I thought it was a good segue for that.
That's a great segue. I appreciate that. That's a great segue because now I'm going to comment on that video and then we'll discuss the article. And then I think I have time for another story as well. So then so look at the clip and look at the demands that this man and this organization, this group was promoting. And now compare that to the black capitalist class, the black neoliberal class. Michelle Obama's message to people in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of a homelessness crisis, in the midst of rampant state violence and massive pollution by the military of the black community, a disenfranchised. They pollute the water in Hawaii. The Navy did. But despite all that, Michelle Obama said, "You got to vote. You got to vote real hard." Right? What do we get from our rappers, the so-called edgy people? P. Diddy, vote or die. Vote or die.
Man. LeBron they help hurt us. They help hurt the black community to the Democratic Party. They help hurt them.
Now listen,
they got to check.
Listen to what they're saying. Compare their ask to what we're asking for. They asking for a voting rights bill that pretty much dismantles third parties. We have entire black activists that are fighting for the right to vote for Democrats. They're not fighting for free. They're not fighting for liberation of their community. They're not fighting for the end of the police state. In fact, they cheer on the expansion of it. Look, they said they want our people to be exempt from the military. They want us to be tried by a jury of our peers because we know white jury members are way more likely to convict someone who's black than white. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. So you should be. So these are rational demands that we should be asking for. Like, and end police brutality against black Americans. I talk about this
exempt
all the time.
From military service, exempt from military service. I really think that's why.
Meanwhile,
anyone who's oppressed should not be going off to fight war for their oppressor. That's absurd.
Compare that to John Lewis and what he said. What this gentleman said, he said, we must demand that police end police brutality in our community. I'm trying to pull up the tweet now. Now compare that to what John Lewis said. I got it. I found it. Check this out. If I was beaten bloody by police officers, I was being bloody by police officers, but I never hated them. I said, thank you for your service. You guys see the difference? He said black people should be exempt for fighting in the military because the military serves no benefit to our community. Barack Obama expanded the military budget. Joe Biden expanded the military budget. But these people who support this party pretend that MLK would be on their side. And John Lewis, you guys see how he lived a long life, a long, comfortable life, bro. He was a congressperson, esteemed, loved by the establishment. He lived a comfortable life. So that's why people, oh my God, he's trashing. No, he lived a comfortable ass life. So he'd be okay. Meanwhile, we had I'll pass right to you. Meanwhile, we had Black Panthers that was killed, assassinated. Mumia was jailed and in prison. But meanwhile, he lived comfortable. And that's why. That's 2 years why. But CJ, I want to get you into it. I want to get you right in here.
No, I'm just saying, like, they eulogize John Lewis that passed. Yeah. They eulogize him for his work that he did in his 20s and 30s. The problem is the last, 20 to 30 years of his life, what was he doing? Who was he getting money from? So, yeah. I remember when he died, your tweet wasn't that great, and people were kind of upset. Or I think you put out a tweet.
Me and Roman, a lot of people were mad. But I was like, y'all got to deal with this. John Lewis is a redeeming bill to me.
He was terrible. He was terrible. So like I don't get that. So he did good in his 20s and 30s, but he's been selling us out for the last 20 to 30 years. Like, so why would we not critique him on that? Go ahead.
Allow me to explain. It's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And I don't want to butcher the quote. I can pull it up real quick. MLK preached about militarism. Give me just one second. I'll pull the quote so we can do this properly, right?
Absolutely. That is absolutely right. Obama would have hated MLK. He would have thought he was a.
It would have been. Trust me, guys. It would have been a mutual hatred. It would have been a mutual ass hatred. So this is what MLK said, and this is why I say this: a nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual death. And this is a great segue because we're gonna get right to that article. But you guys see how his stance on militarism is, and you guys want to know why I went so hard on John Lewis? I went so hard on John Lewis because John Lewis formed a coalition to give Barack Obama unlimited congressional authority, and the reason why he did that because he wanted to wage war in Libya. John Lewis was for that, and now we know what happened in Libya. Destroyed one of the most prosperous African countries. Now there's a slave trade because of that. One of the most horrific United States foreign policy blunders in my lifetime, and that happened under a Democrat. That happened under the first black president. He ruined one of the most prosperous African nations. And you guys wonder why I hate John Lewis? Why I'm willing to drag him? If you want to be spoken nicely to after death, live a life of honor. He gave a great speech. He gave a great speech, but then after he got elected, he became part of the club. He joined the same military-industrial complex that MLK rallied against. And I'm gonna play the clip I shared earlier with you before. He was so upset after Vietnam and the rise of the military state. That's why he became more pessimistic. I'm gonna show the clip again because of the military-industrial complex. Because once he really started diving in, because this is part two. Because I know we got a lot of new viewers. I know I showed this before, CJ, but I think this is important in context, right?
For those that aren't the stream earlier, this is part two. We had a stream cut and showing it again.
Yeah, so let me make sure audio is good. And
turned into a nightmare. Now, I'm not one to lose hope. I keep on hoping. I still have faith in the future. But I've had to analyze many things over the last few years, and I would say over the last few months. I've gone through a lot of soul-searching and agonizing moments, and I've come to see that we have many more difficult days ahead, and some of the old optimism was a little superficial, and now it must be tempered with a solid realism. And I think the realistic fact is that we still have a long, long way to go, and that we are involved in a war. Optimism was a little superficial, and now it must be tempered with a solid realism. And I think the realistic fact is that we still have a long, long way to go.
Love that.
That is MLK repeating the message of the show. A lot of people think the civil rights movement was done. It was not. So you guys understand why I'm upset with John Lewis? MLK knew it was undone. MLK knew we had a lot of work to do. Malcolm X knew we had a lot of work to do. Fred Hampton knew we had a lot of work to do. John Lewis decided he wanted to sell out. And he joined the side of the people we had to continue to fight against. So I got my ass canceled by a lot of people when I called this guy out. Because I am tackling an idea. Because now the Stacey Abrams, the Jamal Bowman's now, the new black Democrats, they look up to John Lewis.
Terrible.
They look up to John Lewis.
He is terrible.
John Lewis is now a hero. He is considered a hero, and he's a fucking war criminal. You guys see why we have to? Because if you're a white leftist and you say this shit, you're done. I got my ass fucking canceled. Now I'm black. So as black leftists, we gotta have the courage to break the cognitive dissonance of people who prop up war criminals like Barack Obama and John Lewis as heroes. I won't let them do it for John McCain. I won't let them do it for Henry Kissinger when he dies. So why would I let them do it for John Lewis?
You're supposed to give him a pass. That's what they say. You're supposed to give him a pass. You're just supposed to give him a pass because of the things he did when he was younger. And I'm just No, that's just not how.
Nope.
That's not how we work. But I do want to get to your article.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I want to let you. I don't know how you wanted to introduce it. Did you just want to kind of put it up, or
let's put it up.
Did you want to go on with your
some...
article? Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Give the background to the article.
So this is the first op-ed I wrote. So a lot of you guys follow me on Twitter, SocialistMMA, and I tweet a lot. A lot of you guys are like, man, SocialistMMA tweets a lot. Yeah, I do, because Twitter is like, before I even got followers, Twitter was a way to me to like yell into the void, right? Like I didn't have a platform, so I would see the crazy shit that goes on. I would see people like John Lewis and Barack Obama be worshipped as heroes. I didn't have a platform though, so I just yell into the void, explain why this is nonsense. So when you guys watch my tweets, because most of my audience, because the YouTube algorithm doesn't feed us viewers. Like most of the people that watch this show know me from Twitter, right? So when I tweet, that's mostly me writing. like I'm analyzing like what's going on. I most of the time I'll be reading a story. I'll be watching some political video, and then I'm like, "Fuck, this Afghanistan shit is crazy." Now I tweet about it. So I decided to release a Substack because that's when I saw everyone releasing one, and I used to be good at writing. I never was interested academically in writing, because when you're in college, they ask you to write about stupid shit that you don't care about. So like, bro, I don't want to write about this fucking. They give you a list of 10 topics, like, bro, all these topics suck. So then I fucking bullshit my way to the paper or whatever. So, but anyway, I like the idea of writing stuff I'm passionate about. So the first op-ed I wrote, because especially before I got this platform, a lot of people knew me on Twitter. I was the angry black guy who hated the Democratic Party. A lot of people thought I was extremely unreasonable because I hated Barack Obama. Like, the shit-lib Twitter, they probably don't even know I exist anymore, because I've been blocked by the entirety of Resist Twitter, because they see what I say about Barack Obama. They see what I say about Joe Biden. Even people like Vosh and Hassan, they say, oh my God, this dude only bash Democrats. He only bash Barack Obama. Why is he doing this? So I felt compelled to explain myself in an op-ed. Embrace MLK, reject Barack Obama, while leftists need to challenge the scourge of black neoliberalism. One of the reasons I wrote this article is because if you're a white leftist, as I said before, if you write this article, your ass probably gonna get canceled by a lot of people. I don't think it's fair. I got your back. I think everyone should call these people out. But I'm gonna say this straight up, and I can back it up. The black boomers, because of the black, and I'm gonna preface this. When I say black boomers, I'm saying the leadership, because they led the rest of the black boomers, right? So I don't blame like the black boomer who was propagandized to death. I don't blame them. I'm looking at the John Lewises. I'm looking at the Jim Clyburns, because they're the black boomers who led that generation, which led our generation off the cliff. Anything you want to say, CJ, before I continue? I don't know if you're muted, but I'll continue.
Sorry about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is my intro. Like I said, this is a long piece because I took my time with this. I'll make sure this was really well researched. But this is what we talk about right now. So I'm gonna jump around on parts I think is important. So
there's some parts I want to point out too. So you go first, and then I got a couple points that I just
and I'm gonna try to get you in here. And CJ, just jump in just jump in and interrupt me if you want to, because I only can see the screen here. So
yeah, for sure.
This civil rights movement was left unfinished. What we just talked about. Black leftists observed the material conditions of black people and all people of color. So I'm talking about the people in the black community, and I also see what's going on with Palestinians. I also see the Latino community being destroyed. I even see the white working class getting destroyed. So in black leftists, we want to challenge the system and build these coalitions with these people, because I see Fred Hampton saw that we all getting fucked by this system. That's what I'm saying here. Black liberals may understand that we live under these oppressive systems. So you will hear black liberals like Joyanne Reed. Mm-hmm. You had Dr. Jason Johnson. You had Benjamin Dixon. These people will say, oh my God, this system is institutionally racist. Joe Biden had a racist past. The crime bill was a racist legislation. But then they will support the same forces of oppression.
Right.
and get mad at us for calling them out. So, but then they seem more interested in giving them more funding and acting as their champions once in office. So now this is talking about more the black liberal class, the people who fund the police state more. So you talk about, oh my God, we live in this racist system. Like I said, black liberals may understand that. They understand we live under oppressive systems. They'll say Black Lives Matter, right? But then they say we're going to fund the police state more. We know the drug war is racist. We know the new Jim Crow is racist. We know the police budgets exploded because they was going after the black community and enforcing the drug war. But despite that, we're going to give them more money. And we're going to fight against the defund the police movement. So do you guys understand the insane contradiction that we get from black liberals?
Yeah. To me, it's a failure of leadership. It's a failure of leadership because that black leadership is part of the black capitalist class. Name someone in black leadership, Nick, who isn't a black capitalist. You can't name one. And this is the reason why they'll sell us out every single time, because they are a black capitalist. They're going to sell us out every single time. But like you made the point, these black capitalists are able to make the analysis of the system, the racist analysis of the system, because I think most black people can
write great articles.
Yeah, they can make the argument that it is racist because, black people feel it. Like, even if you're, black, you're black capitalists, typically those black capitalists grew up poor, so they can at least have some sort of point of reference that they can at least speak to it. But the problem is now, since they have made it and they feel like it's just the reason they made it solely because of them, they take up the traits of the oppressor instead of going back and dragging your community. You make donations, you make foundations, you do that, tax write-offs, businesses. So you can take pictures, you can tweet them out, you can have Twitter pages and have people follow you and say, you're doing so great. Look what you're doing. You're such a great person.
Oh yeah, I just think it's terrible. I'm gonna get to that video.
I think it's terrible. But I do have a section of your article, unless you wanted to comment more on this part. I do have a section.
If you want to do it this way, I'm gonna scroll through the article, and if you want, once we get to that part, I can segment to you. Do you want to do it that way, or I could pass it?
Yeah, let's do it that way.
I want to finish this part here, because I wanted to. This is why.
No, go ahead for sure.
And once again, I'm gonna
get to the. Yeah, when you get down to the failure part, the section I want to read is down lower in the failure.
I'm gonna skim through it pretty quickly, but the black liberal opposition to extremely pro-black policies. My second op-ed I wrote was about how Medicare for all is the most pro-black policies because we had the most medical debt, and our life expectancy falls because we don't see doctors, and the fact because we can't afford medicine. The genocide, the healthcare system in our community is one of the most underreported things, period. Our life is cut short because we can't afford to go to the doctor. I don't even remember the last time I've been to the doctor. My grandpa died of lung cancer when he could have detected it because he don't go to the doctor. My grandma don't go to the doctor because they have medical bills. This is real. I literally had
basing your life,
and this is real. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little real here.
Go ahead.
But one of the reasons why it's hard for us to get like our elders to take care of themselves. This is a problem that we're having right now. I had a conversation with them, one of them, and they told me they don't want to rack up medical bills. There's someone very dear to me. I'm not going to say exactly who they are, but they told me and my brother, they said medical bills is the reason why I don't want to go to the doctor. So do you guys understand that poor working class people, our elders, they are so selfless. They rather have a shorter lifespan rather than bankrupt the family. Do you guys realize that's a choice that people in Henry Kissinger's family would never have to make? Because they have health care. So when people talk about black issues, if you're not talking about this, if you're not for Medicare for all and you're a black activist, I immediately discount anything you have to say. Reparations and Medicare for all. Even if you're for reparations and you're not for Medicare for all,
that doesn't make logical sense. That doesn't make logical sense.
You want to get a check and give it right back into the big pharma and medical bills that we are owed. That is the dumbest shit I ever heard. So you got to be for both. But anyway, CJ, sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and you can always interrupt me a little bit more here.
No, I'm just loving I'm loving like everything you're saying about this medical crisis, and the thing you point out, because I have a similar story, and it's like Black elders choosing to cut their life short so their family isn't stuck with debilitating debt. That, to me, are the death panels that they were screaming about when we were talking about a public option in Medicare for all. Oh, there's going to be death panels. There's going to be death panels with Obamacare and all this other stuff. Really? That's the true death panel. It's capitalism. That's the true death panel. That's the true Grim Reaper. That your people are dying because simply they can't afford to go to a doctor. Think about that, Nick. Think about your citizens dying simply because you're saying it's too expensive to afford Medicare, while at the same time signing $770 billion military budgets. While at the same time signing into law a $2 trillion tax break for the wealthy. While calling your bill, I think it was the infrastructure plan, but it also has, what was it, $400 million tax break for the wealthy in it, or something like that. So it's a situation. I don't like to same thing with you. I don't want to go too much into it because I'll start just getting upset that people are people, Nick. Our people are having to make.
People have no idea how real it is to a CJ. People literally have no idea. Like the people who are privileged, like the Hassans and them, they have no idea. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's like you have this ailment, you have that ailment, and you just go, I just have to suck it up. You think Hassan thinks of that, or he just gets in his car and drives down, or calls in a doctor to come to his house? This is why it's so unserious to have these people as the voices of the left. It's so unserious. The left is so unserious when you're following these types of people.
Why do you think I'm trying to build international?
You're so unserious.
Why do you think I'm trying to build international leftist coalition? Because it's like, bro, we gotta do something else. We gotta branch out from this shit because they're leading us off. People always say, why you? People are like, oh my god, you guys all endorse leftist infighting. Like, what the fuck is leftist infighting? What the fuck is that? You either with my community or you're not. Yes or no? Yes. Okay, right. Cool. I got nothing against you. No. Okay. What does this distinction mean? This leftist thing you guys say. I say I'm a leftist because I am advocating for my community. If you're with me, okay, you can call yourself whatever you want. But you calling yourself a leftist means jack shit. If you're propping up the systems of oppression, the Democratic Party that's destroying us, means shit to me. Could mean
that's
shit to me.
It's the same thing as support. It's the same thing. It's like support is what? What is support? Is support what can I get for support if you're not willing to fight or stand in solidarity? What does support do, Nick? If you support Black Lives Matter, but you're not willing to stand up for Black Lives Matter, like what does support really do? And it's akin to what you're saying about these people. It's like what are this is why I keep going back to this, and I feel like the discourse on the left and the left movement, leftists, is all centered around what white rich leftists are talking about, which has to do with nothing but this bickering shit. There's no real content. There's no real content, Nick, in what they're discussing. You get what I'm saying? They're not talking about the ins and outs of not being able to afford rent, not having evictions. You get what I'm saying? They're not talking about that. They're not talking about, hey, somebody just got beat. Like, I think it was Roma. I forget who it was.
Aid.
Right, exactly. It's like this is why we're not going anywhere. It's because we're listening to white, rich leftists, or people who call themselves leftists, who really are just there to sheep herd you back to the Democratic Party, sheep herd you back to the same system without making any transformative change that will impact their lives. Because if we general strike, that's going to impact these rich people's lives. They're not going to be able to get their Amazon orders on time. And you know they can't have that, Nick. They can't get their Amazon orders if we're general striking. So that's crazy, Nick. Let's go over and do something else. Let's get AOC. Let's vote harder for some more AOCs, Nick.
You're goddamn right. That's fucking hilarious, CJ. That's hilarious. I'm gonna continue. Like, that's why I wanted to read this article on stream, because it leads to great discussion. I'm having a great time. Yeah. So let's continue with this. I said I'm gonna go through it quick, but as long as we're having good discussion, that's the most important.
Yeah,
thing,
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with
it. So this is the premise, and this is what I see Voss and them joke about. They say there's a segment on the left that their entire politics is going against Democrats. And then they say it like it's a bad thing.
Right. That's a good thing.
They say SocialistMMA and the Jimmy Dore left, they are so serious because they only go after Democrats. Why don't they go after Republicans? They say that like it's a serious critique. I'm like, where's the critique? I'm waiting. I'm literally waiting for you to critique my work at this point. So in this part of the article, I explain why. Why do you guys think black leftists who grew up in a blue district like I do, because Kansas City, despite being Missouri being a red state, Kansas City is deeply blue because we have one of the highest percentage of black people. We got like 33%, which is 3 times higher than the national average in terms of black people. So our politics is ran by the Black Congressional Caucus. Emmanuel Cleaver is our congressperson, and he's a part of the Black Congressional Caucus, and he's against the Green New Deal. He's against Medicare for All. He's pro-war. He's a piece of shit. Jim Clyburn is a piece of shit.
That guy, I really disdain that guy.
William Nancy Clay, 3 hours from here in St. Louis, he lost to Cori Bush. Is a piece of shit. Do you guys remember the Ferguson protest? Why do you guys think shit got so bad? William Nancy Clay, the congressman, the Democrat, the Black Congressional Caucus member, was a paid shill of the St. Louis Police Department and turned a blind eye to police brutality and constantly took their side against the activists. That to the point where Cori Bush won. No matter how you guys feel about that, she lost the first time and then she won again. That's unbelievable. And the only reason she won is because and I'm in Missouri, so I hear this shit. Everyone in St. Louis hated this motherfucker. Everyone, all the people on the ground, they hated William Lancey Clay. And you got people like Voss, these white people, these white privileged people. Why you guys talk about Democrats? Do you guys see how ridiculous that is now? Because neoliberalism crushed the black community. The black leaders, they support the crime bill, and they enthusiastically, like Jim Clyburn did, support the author of the crime bill, Joe Biden. We started a movement to fight against the police state, and then people like Jim Clyburn, people like Al Sharpton, attack the defund the police and black activist movements. But Voss asked, why you guys always go after Democrats?
Let me answer that question too. I have a tweet. I'm not going to look it up. I feel the reason I primarily go after Democrats is because in this duopoly, in this narrative, the Democrats are the good guys. So we have to dispel that there is a good guy in this narrative, this duopoly narrative. So you attack who they're calling the good guys because everybody else is already attacking the bad guys. Why do I need to bring up the bad guys all the time when in your own narrative, your own manufactured narrative, the Republicans are the bad guys? Mainstream media, corporate media, print media, mostly liberals who are pushing that the Democrats are the good guys. That's why I go primarily after the Democrats, because there is no good guys in this duopoly.
So these same people will acknowledge that politics is local, right? And The whole point of the show, I told you, we had deeply serious conversation about deeply unserious people. Because these people will say politics is local. And then they will ask why I attack Democrats when Democrats run my local politics. And my stance is, if you live in a deep red area, if you like in rural Tennessee, form a coalition to destroy the Republicans. I support the idea of people running in the Republican Party in deep red areas and hijacking that shit if you can. Run as an independent, hijack that shit if you can. We did segment talking about that before. Because if you live in a deep red area, that's probably your best route because politics is all local. So as a black man who we lived the struggle of black neoliberalism, as we explained before, George Floyd, that happened in a Democratic state. Stop and Frisk happened in a Democratic state. LAPD, one of the most corrupt government agencies of all time, is a Democratic state. But they ask, why do you always criticize Democrats? I hope you guys really understand why that's stupid to say, right? I'm gonna get back to the article. So, and this is and to sum up this part, because we already kind of dive into this a little bit. I talk about how our black leaders sell us out to the police state. This is a concept we talk about all the time. So I'm gonna kind of skip over this part. And CJ, if you find the part in the article you want to discuss, I'll pass it over to you. So, and this is what I talk about, how this is what we bring up when I say when left to challenge Joe Biden's record. I talk about, actually, this is a good part to read. When I say Joe Biden is the most anti-black politician in the modern era, the liberal reaction is immediately block me because they think I'm trolling or some shit, right? They're like, "Oh my God,
being hyperbolic. You're exaggerating." They think you're exaggerating or being hyperbolic.
You guys notice how these people don't pay attention to policy? I do. I'm a nerd. I told you guys I'm a nerd. So people always talk about the crime bill. That's why I said one of the first things people do is bring up the crime bill because it's easy. I brought it up because it's important to bring up. But the thing that people don't really talk about, and because I sold cards and because I was in finance, I learned how the finance industry works, and I learned about Joe Biden way before a lot of people was radicalized about Joe Biden. I learned about the bankruptcy bill. I learned about credit. I learned about how the Democratic Party was complicit with giving Wall Street and lending companies a significant amount of power over the workers, which they didn't always have. A lot of people think that the society we have now is always been set in stone. This usury shit that we're under, this is brand new. Whenever it did get popped under a society, a revolution will happen. But anyway, I'm going to continue. So the bankruptcy bill was one of the most anti-working class pieces of legislation. Like, so I had a lot of sources to what I'll quote here. This is my favorite article, but let's see what I wrote here. Joe Biden voted against amendments that would have eased the burdens of those suffering under medical debt and student loan debt. So remember what we just said, where I said Medicare for all and healthcare is the most pro-black policy, and how black people have the most medical debt out of anyone based on percentage? Guess who's responsible for that? Meanwhile, when I say Joe Biden the most anti-black politician in the modern era, I get blocked because deeply unserious people don't understand this shit. They vote blue no matter who. We are anti-racist. We're going to vote for Joe Biden. That what Voss said. That what Humans Report said. That what David Doe said. Yeah, I'm dropping names. I want you guys, the reason I bring this up so you guys know the difference between what someone who's a real fucking leftist and versus people who are complicit with racist, white supremacists, capitalist scumbags like the Democrat Party. Voss called himself an anarchist Bidenist.
An anarchist what?
Biden. Do you guys know? I'm probably butchered it. Like anarchist Bidenist. He was trying to be funny. Like he was like, I'm an anarchist Bidenist.
I'm sure somebody will drop it in the.
So I'm gonna continue here quickly, and I'm trying to get you in here. So feel free to interrupt me because I know there's a lot to talk about here. This highlights the key difference between black liberals and black leftists, like the Ben Dixons in our show. Because black leftists discuss the black financial consequences of neoliberal capitalism. So I repeat, the difference between when you watch Tim Black and Ben Dixon in this show is we will talk about the financial consequences of voting for Jim Crow Joe. But meanwhile, Ben Dixon and Tim Black and them, they're like, oh no, we can vote for them because he's the lesser two evils. What? How has that gone? There was no
pretty terrible.
There was no financial analysis. There was just vibes, bro. Whatever MSNBC said, whatever TYT said, they said, don't worry, Biden's good. No analysis at all. This is why I got on YouTube, guys. I was like, bro, you guys are driving me crazy. Anyway, CJ, I know I'm talking about.
Yeah. If you can scroll down just to that part with the failure of black leadership, that first, I'm gonna start with that first paragraph. So what really, failure of black, there. So what really gets, if you scroll down, it says failure of black leadership. Keep going. It's in big black letters. It's one of your headers. It's a header. There you go.
Here it is.
Yeah, it's one of the headers. I should have said that in the beginning. So I'll read from this beginning right here. It says, I laid out many of the ways this system has failed African Americans. This highlights my frustration with black boomers who shifted to the right over the last few decades. They left the civil rights movement unfinished. Now ask yourself, where exactly has the Black Congressional Caucus been while our communities were ravaged by neoliberal capitalism? Well, W.E.B. Du Bois said it best. A class structure began to rise within the Negro group, which produced haves and have-nots, and tended to encourage more successful Negroes to join the forces of monopoly and exploitation and help victimize their own class and in any other lower classes that were possible, to remedy the situation, thinking Negroes still regarded their first steps towards emancipation as being political power. W.E.B. Du Bois, Socialism and the American Negro. I just
read. I love that. That book is great. But go ahead, CJ.
Yeah. No, I just got it on audio. I got one of them little audio things. So I got 2 books ahead of it, and then I'm getting to that book. So that is on my list. But let me continue with this this next paragraph, which is Black leaders selling out our people for riches is a tale as old as the slave trade. I laid this out earlier how our current healthcare system has failed Black Americans. Meanwhile, our Black leaders like Jim Clyburn take the most from Big Pharma compared to any member in the House or Senate. That's the part I wanted to get to. This guy, Jim Clyburn, you would think, whoa, why does he talk about Medicare for all the way he does? Here it goes. Jim Clyburn takes the most from Big Pharma compared to any member in House and Senate. This is why Jim Clyburn fights against our right to have health care. This is directly shown as his failure to represent his constituents. South Carolina ranked 49th for cost of health care, 41st for healthcare outcomes, and 32nd for healthcare access. Now you see why Big Pharma gives Clyburn so much money. He works for them, not his community. And this is what I wanted to read, that because it speaks to Black leaders selling out the Black community for a check. W.E.B. Du Bois talked about it in that book. Go ahead, Nick. W.E.B. Du Bois talked about it in the book Socialism in the American Negro. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but once again, you read that segment, and I gave a very specific and exact example of how we have a Black leader, how he takes money from industry and sell out his community, and he is the most prominent example. There are people like William Lancey Clay. There are people like Emmanuel Cleaver. There are people like Jim Clyburn. People like Hakeem Jeffries. All over. Yeah,
I was gonna say him.
All over this country. Kamala Harris. Look how successful she was able to rise within the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm. And now, but this is what they do, Nick. This is what they do, Nick. They'll go and they'll have a civil rights foundation. They'll go and say voter rights. They'll go and say, build some parks in the Black community. You see how it's like they do so much damage, and then they try to whitewash their reputation by doing these other things. It's just like the work that you're doing to help is being significantly devalued by the harm you're bringing. You get what I'm saying? It's like you have this foundation that helps a few people, but the things you support through capitalism and through the system is actually hurting the Black community more than what you're doing individually to help it. And that is a concept I don't think a lot of the black capitalist class understands. It's like they feel like if I have this money now, I'm able to help, but they're helping in the same ways that their oppressor helps. You get what I'm saying? I'll pass it back to you, Nick.
Yeah, and I remember what we said earlier on. There's absolutely no way we can't do everything today, but I feel like, and CJ, let me know how you feel about. I'm down to go a little bit longer because the stream accident happened, but just let me know if whenever you gotta tap out, because I want to show this clip, and then I have one more story that I think it shouldn't be too long to do, but I want to clip that individually, and then we can post it later as individual video. So. Let me know if you're down, CJ, but
probably 10, 15 more minutes. I can do another 10, 15.
Yeah. I want to tell you guys this I think that's perfect. So
yeah,
we just talk about the black capitalist class, and this is the video I want to show you guys to wrap up, because I told you guys the people who are complicit with repeating the agenda of the black capitalist class, the people who the black capitalists like who are promoted in our mainstream now. It's all about hustle, grind, bling bling. Who got the biggest car, who got the shoes, like it's all about capitalism and materialism, right? And I want to show you guys that, and CJ shared this. This is like the old school mindset of black people before the black capitalist boomers took over. This is Pryor, and I want to show this video 100% and get your reaction, and we'll quickly cover the next story. But this is amazing. I love this clip so much. Richard Pryor, 1A. George Carlin, 1B. That's my opinion in terms of the GOATs, because they spoke truth to power. So when you said, looking at Richard's eyes, it felt like he wanted to say more, but knows the audience is not ready for the complete truth.
That's what it felt like. It felt like he was kind of like trying to be timid with the words, carefully select them with answering the question. That's what it looked like to me. Yeah. But hey, maybe I'm reading into it.
Yeah, that's a good analysis, because you can tell he know more, but he's like, I'm not going to say more. But watch.
Yeah, you can tell.
Really think that some of the guys that you dealt with at NBC, no names, right? Because there's lawsuits for that too. That some of these guys really want to promote racism actively, or is it a subconscious?
I just think it's part of capitalism, is to promote racism, right? In order to make things work. If you feel better because you're white and you can get a job, you use that. I mean, I would.
Absolutely.
Say, I'm sorry, Jack, but shit, they say I'm white. I'm going to use this.
Right. Absolutely.
Get this job. I'm hungry, But, and that separates people. So they keep people separated, and that keeps them from thinking about the real problem. That's as simple as I see it. Probably it's not that simple, but.
Now, all right. You and I are about the same age, right? We're in our mid-30s. How long is it going to take before guys who think like you, and I say guys who think like me, people who don't want to have racism in the country, people who don't want to be oppressing any minority, whatever it is, sexual, whatever minority, really get into positions of power and can change things?
You can't get in a position of power, it seems, if you think like that. It seems that the only time you get in a position of power is if you like the people that are in power. To me, I mean, that's the way it goes. I mean, people that get to become executives become like the people that were already executives.
I don't know, maybe
they go in with good intentions, but it eats them up. It's like a cesspool, it just gets on you and it starts
the system
eating.
Levels them.
Pretty soon it's all
gone. Is that
gone.
what a cesspool sounds like?
Yes.
That's probably, I love that clip. So CJ, imagine an alternate reality where we can interview this guy. Like, how much do he really know?
Oh my Lord.
That clip is as base as it gets.
Oh my Lord.
Like, how much do he really know? Like, how much do he, like, because that clip, like, if you don't just say shit like that, like, that clip is brilliant. Like,
no, you don't just randomly say something like that without knowing what's really happening. And especially because you got to remember, he's had two perspectives. He was dead, like broke. Like, when black people say the same word twice, it just means very, very, so very poor. He grew up very poor, saw that side of the coin. And then he saw the other side of the coin of being, very, very rich. And he could still make this assessment. And what I want to do is just play it a little bit, but I'm going to be stopping it because there's certain parts
absolutely.
I want to kind of point out what I'm seeing on the screen and why I'm thinking what I'm thinking. So let me start it here.
Really think that some of the guys that you dealt with at NBC, no names, right? Because there's lawsuits for that too. That some of these guys really want to promote racism.
To me, let me just say, it almost feels like he's in disbelief that is even a concept that they want to promote racism. So, but I'm saying this because there's white people who they're oblivious to this. So they really promote racism? It is a foreign concept that some entity would do something like that. So that's the first thing that stands out. But look at his eyes when he answers right here.
Can I try to do this real quick?
Capitalism is to promote racism.
You see, he's looking to see his reaction to what he just said, to know if I can go further in or I need to back out a little bit. And to me, he felt like I need to back out a little bit because he is not going to be receptive to the truth that I have to speak. So let me soften this. That's how I look at it. Maybe I'm reading into it.
That analysis is perfect. I'm going to try to make this real quick. That analysis is perfect because what's going on right now? You guys understand the critique that Richard Pryor just made there? He said capitalism is complicit and is tied to racism. And you guys, because you guys come from these capitalist structures, you guys unknowingly become a witting agent of white supremacy. Do you guys understand that's critical race theory? When you watch this clip, everything that Richard Pryor is saying is critical race theory. Critical race theory is critically thinking about race. But look at how people are reacting to critical race theory. They're banning black authors. They're banning people from teaching it. That's how scared they are, CJ. But go ahead.
Go back to that other clip with George Carlin. What did he say? They want people mindless. They don't want somebody educated. They don't want anybody that knows anything about the system. That's what's going on. They want mindless workers. And this goes to the critical race theory thing also. They don't want white people waking up to what their white ancestors really did. They don't want that. This is a reason why every white generation has to go through the same rediscovering that, wow, white people are not, our ancestors weren't that great, is because it's a lack of honesty about what happened, what it took for them to get here. Right. So let me finish up this clip, and I do have a couple more comments here.
To make things work. If you feel better because you're white and you can get a job, you use that. I mean, I would.
Absolutely.
So what he's doing here, in my opinion, he's making white people, he knows what audience he's at. He's making them feel comfortable about their privilege. Like, hey, you got privilege because you're white. Hey, I would use it too. That's what he's basically saying, kind of like trying to be like, hey, you using your privileges, I would do the same thing, making them feel good about their privilege.
I'm sorry, Jack, but shit, they say I'm white. I'm gonna use this.
Right, absolutely.
Get this job. I'm hungry, But and that separates people. So they keep people separated. That keeps them from thinking about the real problem.
You see, now he says what he says, and then he tries to back away with this next comment, Nick. This is how I'm just telling you how I'm seeing it. With his next comment, he's trying to say, well, maybe that's it.
That's as simple as I see it. Probably it's not that simple, but
no. All right, you and I.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting the vibe that he knows.
About the same age, right? We're in our mid-30s. How long is it going to take before guys who think like you, and I say guys who think like me, people who don't want to have racism in the country, people who don't want to be oppressing any minority, whatever it is, sexual, whatever minority, really get into positions of power and can change things?
Nick, you started the same. I'm playing this part here for this question. The question is so. Let me play it again.
Really get into positions of power and can change things.
Let me play this again.
Want to like me? I say we're the same age. Now, all right, you and I are about the same age, right? We're in our mid-30s. How long is it going to take before guys who think like you, and I say guys who think like me, people who don't want to have racism in the country, people who don't want to be oppressing any minority, whatever it is, sexual, whatever minority, really get into positions of power and can change things?
So,
oh my God, that's actually worse. The second
I'll let you say your part before I say my part. Go ahead.
That's actually worse the second time. That's like the third time I heard it. Actually worse that time because now I was thinking about it in another lens. Because, and hear me out, guys. And he low key doing defense for the establishment, right? Because we explained to you guys, like, once you become part of that executive branch, just for example, once you become part of Congress, once you become part of the system as he describes it, Like if you become a police officer, if you're a good guy with good intention trying to change the system, they're gonna run you out. They're gonna run. They're gonna pour a ton of money. If you're running their elections, they will defeat you. If you do win, they're gonna spend a ton of money to defeat you or censor you. If you're a journalist, they may imprison you. Like they don't play fair. They don't play fair. So the question is on the premise of we have this system, we have these elections, and if we just have someone who's a smart and passionate about helping people, then things will change. We played a clip in George Carlin that they fucking yanked off YouTube, where he says, like, bro, the reason why nothing changing because the only way you get through these systems is through the elite institutions like Harvard and Yale, which are morally bankrupt. The position of Harvard is the position of the apartheid state of Israel. That's why Dr. Cornel West had to leave. What's the term they didn't give him tenure?
They didn't give him tenure.
They didn't give him tenure because the position of Harvard, the position that come out of the elite establishment, is the position of genocide. The position of pushing the weapons of mass destruction. That's Alan Dershowitz, who's been a Harvard law professor for 50 years. So you can't change the system when they're going through this system that is extremely toxic. And that's why this question is really bad. And that's why Richard's like, what do you just ask me?
The question. But let me break down the question right here.
You and I are about the same age, right? We're in our mid-30s. How long is it going to take before guys who think like you, and I say guys who think like me, people...
So he's trying to say, I'm not racist like you, right? Like he's trying to, I'm like you, Richard. Like we're together, people like us. I'm gonna get back to that. Let me just point that out.
To have racism in the country, people who don't want to be oppressing any minority, whatever it is, sexual, whatever minority, really get into.
Nick, the point I want to make here is that this concept that a lot of white people believe that all it takes is for them not to be racist, for racism to go away.
Yes, CJ, yes.
Without fixing the systems of racism. So it's like, the question is, how long is it going to take? As if it can be done without fixing the system of repression, without fixing the police state, without fixing the military industrial complex, without fixing the oppression, without fixing the corporate capitalist capture of our government. Like without fixing none of that, how can we get rid of racism? You can't. You can't. That's the answer to your question, is you can't. But it's the idea, Nick, that there is a good segment of white population who believes this. And this is what we talk about, white silence. White silence. Yes, I'm not racist, so I'm not doing anything. So I'm in my part. Go ahead, Nick.
No, yes, that's perfect. That's exactly what it is. I got Black Lives Matter in my bio, so I can vote for Jim Crow Joe. I can support the police state, undermine all our activism. But I'm a good guy, trust me. I'm a good guy. I got your back, trust me. It's preposterous.
But it's like, but think about it. Think about white American culture. The ability to live simultaneously like everything's great while you're killing off indigenous. The ability to live like everything is great in your world while you're enslaving Black people. You get the ability to just live a completely separate existence and label yourself a free country and label yourself freedom and label yourself free speech because you're only talking about the existence of white people. That's why you're able to say these things about this country. Or we're just doing this. Or we're good at this. Really? Really? Because what is the numbers for Black wealth? Like, I think the number in your article was it 6.4 or 6.8% or something like that? Was the new number? It used to be 9.4. I forget the amount. But think about that. 500 years here, and you're talking about we're not even 10% of the wealth, and we've been here this long. So either, Nick, this actually applies to all the conditions of Black people. Either there is a system that's keeping Black people where they are, or you're saying Black people are like that. That's your only two options, Nick. That's your only two options. Either Black people are just born being criminals. Either Black people are just born, being, taking drugs. Either Black people are just born wanting to be in gangs. Either Black people who are born, wanting to do these things, or there's a condition that's facilitating this. And that's my point, Nick. I'll pass it back to you.
No, that's brilliantly said. Is there anything else in this clip? Because that's a powerful way to aim to wrap the segment up.
Yeah, I think that's good.
And we went over my article, which was a large theme of a lot of what we cover in this show. In honor of MLK Day and what he actually stand for. I have the link to my full Substack article. We read bits and pieces, so you guys got a good idea. But if you guys want to check it out, man, I got a lot of great article plans for this year. I got 3 in production right now, so I'm really gonna start writing a lot more. I had 5 articles last year, so check it out.
So you work on multiple ones, like over.
It takes a lot of research because I'm also not a professional. Like if I was a professional, maybe I'll do it quicker. But I want to make sure it's good content.
Right.
And I'm not.
That's good.
So I do a lot of research, and I don't like rush it. So I got like 3 projects. Let's see. I can pull up can I give you guys a spoiler? Let me pull up real quick. But we can talk about what we have coming up.
Yeah. What's your fun story?
I'm also gonna write about how, and I covered this before, the police state, the crackdown that the people who want to fund the police more, the backlash against the defund the police movement. I'm gonna explain in my next op-ed how that actually class war, because they ramping up the police state because they know people are gonna get uncivil and they're gonna fight against capitalism.
They're preparing. We say this all the time. They're preparing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's probably my next article. I'm gonna do op-ed explaining right-wing populism and why they have a lot of issues. So that's this is the kind of things I'm gonna work on. So that's my pitch for subscribing to my Substack. I appreciate you guys. I may do a stream tomorrow. Actually, I probably most likely will, because I had another story I really want to cover today, but I want to let CJ go. So I might do a special live stream. Because I know
if you want to stay on here, you can stay on here. I don't think people will mind, but yeah, if you want to do yours tomorrow, yeah, CJ, if you want to stay on here, I mean, I'll be able to watch it while we're eating dinner at the table. I'll have it on in the back and
I'm good for one more second.
And watch it.
So CJ, what you got? Because I want to cut it up.
Yeah, so I'll give you what I got coming up, and then I'll leave it to you for the last segment to finish up. Thank you for everybody that's watching. Sorry about the stream. They cut off. Like, you can't speak truth. Like when you say climate change or the climate crisis is not years away. The climate crisis isn't here. Fascism is not years away. Fascism is here. It's here. Like, stopping people from talking and critiquing about the establishment is ridiculous. So, Nick, I got my show 3 p.m. this Wednesday, straight out of politics. Don't really know what I'm talking about yet, so I can't tell you what that is. I am still working on 2 other shows, the Propaganda Report, still trying to figure out how to do that. And then Free Black America podcast, bringing that one back. And then I think I'm going to do the Independent Left again, where we bring on different types of leftists, like the spectrum of left, where you're center left, and then people that are far left, and then people that are
guys,
different spectrum of left.
We got a lot of great programs planned this year, man. We got so much. The International Leftist Solidarity Summit coming.
I can't wait for that.
So much stuff's going on. So thank you for sticking with me, CJ. I got this story probably won't even take that long, so stick with me, guys. So thanks, Nick. I will talk to you offline, probably later after the episode. I will talk to you later, but I'll be watching offline. Okay, sound good.
See you.
This is a segment I really want to do. Me and I'm preparing right now. Me and CJ know there's literally no chance that we will ever actually go through our entire show, because we had a lot more planned. I'm preparing an article now, but hopefully you guys stay with me because I have one more article to do. I have one more story. Let's go through some chat. Let's go through some chat real quick, and then we prepare. I appreciate the super chat. We really do because we have a lot of plans this year, and you guys always ask like we have like members that be missing sometimes. It's because we're living. I mean, it's a hard time right now, so that's why we ask like any support through Patreon, PayPal, all that kind of stuff. It just helps us out as independent journalists to help us continue to fight and organize international leftist summits. You guys saw Rome. He was showing the Amazon worker strikes. Like this is the kind of stuff that we will continue. Like we continue to grow as a network. Like imagine us with 100,000 subscribers. Can you guys imagine what we could accomplish with like the like we could have an in-person general strike summit that can send people out to the streets, right? But anyway, I digress. I want to get to this this article because my second article on Substack, I wish I could find it because we just covered my here it is. We just covered my first article I wrote about how the black capitalist class sold us out to the police state, right? So the second article I wrote was about how Medicare for all, healthcare, single payer, nationalizing the healthcare industry is actually one of the most pro-black policies because of the way we suffer under the healthcare system. And then my third article came because the propaganda that we are subjected to is so intense and so pervasive. When I say the United States is the most propagandized country, I'm talking about what you see in the newsroom, what you see in Hollywood, the buddy cop films, the idea that police protects people, the idea that police have your best interests at heart, the idea that police do anything other than serve capital and impose regressive taxes, fines, and fees on the working class. So if you are a Marxist, you need to get on board with this movement. I see a lot of weakness on the weak U.S. left because they never, if you watch these people that we criticize, the TYT left, the Sam Cedar left, the Vosh Hassan left, these people, they don't, I'm trying to adjust my camera a little bit. They ran away from this issue. They ran away from defunding the police. And if you watch Sabby's channel, subscribe to her. She's my revolutionary blackout sister. I had a debate with Garland Nixon about defund the police, and I am debunking the bullshit propaganda that a lot of people are falling for. Like there are people who are even good on the issue of law enforcement, right? They say, oh my God, the police is out of control. But then they say shit like, oh my God, defund the police, that's a horrible slogan. And I'm looking at the chat. I challenge anyone on that idea. Watch the Savvy's channel. I talked to Garland Nixon. He was on Jimmy Dore, and he explained why he didn't like defund the police in the slogan. And I explained in great detail, you can't get a better slogan than something that is a policy demand that you cannot hijack. Cancel student loan debt is a great slogan. It's even a policy demand. But you see, they can even hijack that because they say, oh, we can cancel up to a student loan debt up to 10,000, up to 50,000. That completely defeats the purpose because we're trying to get money back to the working class, and that's why it boosts the economy. But we have even good slogans can be hijacked. But defund the police? How can you hijack that? Oh, okay, I support defund the police. I support defund the police by 10%. Okay, I'll take that. If you look at 10 demands, the whole thing is trying to cut police budgets as much as you can every single fiscal year because their wages are not justified. Their wages are not justified. Now, if you're one of the people who are like, oh my God, defund the police, this is too radical. What do you guys have in mind? This is insane. I am asking you to be serious because a lot of these people, they consider themselves on the left. A lot of these people consider themselves civil rights activists that are fighting the new Jim Crow. They will say, oh my God, I want to end the new Jim Crow. I want to end the death penalty. I want to legalize marijuana. But y'all don't want to defund the police. why do you guys think the police budgets exploded in the first place? If you want to end the drug war on marijuana, even though the vast majority of money that police spend in their time is cracking down on stoners and imposing regressive taxes and fees on the working class, if you want to end that, why don't you support defunding the police? Because that's how they got their budget. Do you think that they out there fighting people like Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan? Like this is Rush Hour? You think this is Die Hard, where police is taking that money and fighting gangs in the street? You watching GTA, you play GTA, you get 4 stars, and you think the police is out there like SWAT team, like killing, like stopping serial killers. That is not reality. That is not reality. So hardline in the sand. No, defund police is a great slogan because it's a demand, and it's a demand that sparked conversation. It sparked conversation because it was a shocking slogan and it was a demand. So people said, oh my God, what defund the police? What does that mean? Do they want to get rid of the police? Oh my God, they want to get rid of the police, don't they? And then some people say this dialogue is bad. You saying, oh my God, defund the police. You guys are confusing people. They don't know what they mean. And you guys want to know my response to that? Good. Because if they're confused, if they're scared, then we creating dialogue. Defund the police has skyrocketed, and I explained this before. I'm gonna show you guys the receipt. I didn't have this prepared, but I am gonna show you guys a story because I'm trying to destroy this argument before I show you guys the story. Defund support, because unlike all the other people in independent media, I have been covering defund the police from day one. Even when it was unpopular, in the height of the George Floyd protest, the concept of defunding the police was massively underwater. It was like minus 30% in approval rating. And after the dialogue around defund the police was started, we jumped significantly since then. I'm going to show you guys the receipt. Look at this. So I tweeted, I said, I find it very funny that defund the police went from being massively unpopular to now a majority of independents and Democrats support it. But no one's talking about that. And I'm going to show you guys a story, and this is why I'm covering this. Every article is talking about the failure of the defund the police movement. Every single fucking one. But I challenge you guys to name me one policy that went from being deeply underwater as it was during the George Floyd protest, and then they protested it the year afterwards, and now majority of Democrats and independents support it. Do you guys understand that Medicare for All, even Medicare for All didn't grow that fast? Cancel student loan debt didn't grow that fast. Legalizing gay marriage was a decades-long struggle. Defund the police started, and then we immediately started turning the tide. So how is it a bad slogan? So here is it. A majority of voters want to reallocate funds from their local police budgets to crime prevention initiatives, such as counseling, drug treatment, job training, and education, which is 74% of Democrats and 55% of independents. But go ahead and tell me how defund the police is a bad slogan. Go ahead and tell me how the defund the police movement has been a failure. Since I have this up, I'm going to show you guys another example of the propaganda they did. Check this out. This is the kind of shit they do. Fewer than 1 in 5 support the defund the police movement. This is how they manufacture consent that somehow we have not made gains. So I tweet and I said, let me fix this. Let me fix the headline here. When you break that number down, after they manipulated the polls and they heavily skewed it towards the white suburbanites and Republicans, we know Republicans, because they are hypocrites and they are not fiscally conservative, they don't support defund the police. So as far as I'm concerned, get them out of the equation. We know there are opposition that we are going to defeat. But when you break down the poll, even a year ago, majority of Democrats, and despite the talking points you hear from people like Glenn Greenwald, for example, who pretends the only people who support defund the police are white liberals, it always was supported by black people from day one. From day one. Check this out. So this is why I said the Republicans in this poll is insignificant, because they destroyed the number. 84% of Republicans support fully funded, unbelievably unjustifiable police budgets that don't do shit. The fiscal conservatives. They are a joke. You understand our police budget, compared to the military budgets, will be ranked number 3. The New York Police Department spends 3 times more money than the North Korea spends on their military. The NYPD spends nearly as much as Iran and Iraq does on their military. But you call yourself a fiscal conservative? I told you guys, subscribe to my Substack, because I got a story coming up where I'm going after the right-wing populists. And you guys, people ask me, why aren't you comfortable working with right-wing populists? Because a lot of these motherfuckers are blue stripe they support the blue stripe. How can you say you got solidarity with the workers, but you support the police that funnel money from us? I don't trust you if you're siding against the workers and you side with the police that go after homeless people. I'm going to write about that in great detail. It should be great. Not a lot of people are going to invite me on their show to explain. Like, I dare Saiger to do that. I dare him. Saiger say he's a right-wing populist, but he against marijuana. What the fuck? Anyway, I digress. The survey found that 67% of Democrats support redistributing portions of police budgets to social programs. That's defund the police. 67% of Democrats. Now, it is also divided by race, because white, privileged, suburbanites. Now I'm going to say shit that's going to make you guys uncomfortable. You guys know the police state serves your interests. Right-wing populists. You guys know that. That's why you guys are more likely to support this system. And I'm going to show you guys another story that backs this up that does not justify itself. So if you look at the race, 63% of black voters, despite what Glenn Greenwald said, support distributing portions of police to social programs. 1 out of 3 white voters do. Most white voters surveyed support fully funding the police. Only 37% of black voters believe that we should have police budgets as we do right now. But meanwhile, if you listen to Glenn Greenwald, he say, oh my God, defund the police is a movement only filled with white libs. Do you guys see how you guys have been driving me crazy for the last 2 years with this deeply unserious shit? You guys, like Glenn Greenwald, for example, he talks about the national security state, but then he always do the bidding of the right-wing culture warriors, and he always want to fearmonger over defund the police. And he says, and I'm going to see if I can find my reaction to him, because we actually debated about this on Twitter. Let's see if I can find it. Look, I'm going to show you guys this exchange, because I'm going to show you guys why I have been very, very frustrated with almost all you motherfuckers, to be honest. like a lot of boutique leftists, but this is Glenn Greenwald here, who does great work. He does amazing work in Brazil, right? But look at this, because he got to own the libs, right? So this is what he says. Because these people, Li Fang, these people are doing propaganda. And I just explained to you guys how, when asked, the majority of black people support the idea of defunding the police, right? So then they tweet shit out like, oh my God, black people don't support it. Oh my God, black people are against defunding the police. That's pretty much what this tweet is saying. And then Glenn Greenwald, he says, few things make the liberal left angrier when Li Fang goes out on the street in the place where he lives and reports on what he sees and gives voice to these people you're supposed to pretend don't exist. They think reporting is only reporting if it advances their agenda. So I'm gonna get directly into what I said. Glenn, why the fuck are you pretending black people don't support defund the police? And pretty much did the same thing I just shared to you guys, right? And then I'm saying, do you really fall for the corporate media propaganda, right? So this is what I'm saying to these people. He said, I didn't say anything remotely like that. I just point out what Lean Fame reported at this event and the reason for the anger over it. Here are the polling data that is quite relevant to the discussion. Once again, I'm not one of the people that I don't think he's evil. I don't think Glenn Greenwald is a horrible guy, but this is a horrible analysis. Because I just explained to you how they manipulate the polls. I said, not trying to misrepresent, but it seems like you're trying to make it seem like the defund police movement exists, and at the dismay of black people support reallocation of the police funds, despite what he just posted, right? Here, let me get my reply here. And he brings up, there's no monolithic opinion on the community and these other questions. Pro-police protesters were there because they view it as necessary to protect them from crime. So these black boomers who's at this event, they buy into the mainstream propaganda that the police protect them, which is ridiculous. Why you supposed to debunk that? And as I showed before, when you ask people about whether they want to reallocate police budgets, black people support that. So instead of giving the platform to people like a Finney, instead of giving a platform to people like us and the people who support defund the police, you see how they amplify the black boomers we talk about who are complicit with selling us out to the police state, right? This is why I bring up how we got more defund the police support, and then he pretend I with Bernie, but I said I don't even agree with Bernie. I think Bernie sucks on this issue too. So this is I think this is the last change. Like we had a good discussion. I would love to talk about with this in person. Let's see. This is pretty civil, I think, right? So I personally think the two biggest problems are radical over-incarceration, imprisoning people for crimes that don't merit prison and doing it for insanely long periods of time based on class and race lines, and wrote a book about it, and far too much immunity for police conduct. So what I said, yeah, but we gotta have a real conversation about the solutions, right? So you can say, oh my God, the police is horrible, but if you advocate for reforms, it's meaningless, because if you look at the drug war, broken windows policing, this is why we got massive police budgets. So that's why I say you have to support defund the police if you are critical of the police state. Because the police state was expanded because of the things that Glenn Greenwald said is a problem, right? So why would you fearmonger against it? Right? I'm just having fun now, guys, to be honest. Where we leave off? I think that's where the conversation ended, to be honest. But I think it was a pretty good conversation, right? So this guy, he said, I think this is the important part to read. He said, why not use something more precise? Like demilitarize. You hear this a lot. People say, instead of using defund the police, why not use demilitarize the police? It describes the problem more accurately and doesn't scare the shit out of the working class people who are hearing gunshots with more frequency. That the police doesn't stop that, for one. And they can't ride the subway in peace. Police doesn't stop that. So my response to him, I said, we don't need a fancy slogan. Defund the police is straight to the point. And people are only scared after decades of propaganda. And I'm going to show you guys the propaganda. That's the point of the segment. I'm going to show you guys the propaganda. We have to deprogram them. The point of defund the police movement is to scare you. So then you can start asking questions. And then activists who you are supposed to platform, Glenn, like a Finney and us, we explain to these people why if you have problems with the police system, you have to support defund. If you support legalized marijuana, you have to support defund. And you got to talk about it fiscally. To conservatives, they say they're fiscally conservative. And you got to call them out. If you say you're fiscally conservative and you advocate for a giant police budget that is the number 3 ranked military budget in the world, you are deeply unserious. Right? I got a little ranty there, didn't I? I got a little ranty there, but I got one more thing, because I told you guys we got to deprogram this propaganda, and I'm gonna show you guys a few examples because I can find them pretty quickly here. I explained to you guys how defund the police, we have made amazing gains over the last year. If you ask me when I was at the George Floyd protest, like how long this movement would take to get to where we are right now, I would say at least 5 to 8 years, maybe. because the propaganda has been so intense. We went from that, now majority independents are okay with the idea, right? So despite the fact that they keep painting the idea of defund the police movement openly, they are not dumb, guys. They know what they're doing. They see the real numbers of the people who support the defund the police movement now, despite the fact that they are pretending we are losing. So they have to run pieces like this to scare the shit out of people. They have to scare the shit out of people with stories like this. And I can literally just Google. Oh, I gotta turn this off. I can literally just Google and do this, guys. It's a fun exercise. Google defund the police and Google in the news section, and you will see story after story of them attacking defund the police. People like Glenn Greenwald fall for it because they're terrified. Capitalism needs this strong national security state, this strong police state to survive. People are going homeless. People are getting radicalized. So they need a strong police state more than ever. So Fox News and the right, they run stories like these. And this is hilarious. Hilarious. 42% of DC murder cases were closed after the anti-police movement. Oh my God, defund the police. Now, the DC cops, they're not solving murder cases. And it could get worse. If the defund police movement continue to grow, it's going to get worse. The police will never solve the crimes. And the subheadline says, defund the police movement hurts detectives' ability to solve homicides. I really hope that I have you guys educated enough where you guys can spot the propaganda out immediately. I'll give you guys a second. We did not defund the police. In fact, you guys got more money. You guys got more money under Joe Biden. More weapons. The Capitol Police was expanded. And then they write articles saying, oh my God, the defund police movement is failing because the police budgets are exploding. And I can literally show you guys the article they write. Like, the defund police movement is failing because they can't defeat the giant white supremacist prison industrial complex. So in one story, they will admit that we failed and the police budgets are expanding. But despite the fact that the police budgets are expanding, they still not doing shit. And then, despite the fact, and by the way, this number is consistent throughout the decades. Even when they got DNA was supposed to be the breakthrough. DNA was to help them solve murder cases and rape cases, right? It hasn't changed. You guys know it is the same. There's been no significant uptick since they introduced DNA, fingerprints. It's been 40% for decades. But despite that, you see, they lied even there because now they say, oh my God, only 42% of cases were closed. Not solved, closed. Because we know the police, based on multiple studies, they solve only 3% of violent crime. Do you guys see the layers on top of layers of propaganda? The layers on top of layers. So not only do they blame the defund the police movement because the cops, despite getting more money, suck at their job, and then they pretend that police not solving crime is some sort of weird thing that's caused by this movement, despite the fact that that's always been the case. That's always been the case. You guys see? You see, guys, what they do? So I hope you guys subscribe to my Substack. This is my third op-ed I wrote. Because the weakness on the left on this issue, to me, is damn near unforgivable. Damn near unforgivable. The squad voting to fund the police state more. Bernie Sanders not supporting the defund the police movement. These things are disqualifying to me. If you're an activist and you're weak on this issue, like the right-wing populists are, you are not class conscious. You are not class conscious. I explained to you guys how the police, they target African Americans with civil asset forfeiture around a 60% rate, and they steal millions of our wealth every year. So how can you say you got class solidarity and you're supporting the police state? Right-wing populists. You guys see why the right-wing populist doesn't exist? How can you say you're a populist if you support the state that is designed to crush the working class movement? It doesn't make sense. Come on. We staying on tonight. I'm gonna cut this as an individual segment. Because I feel like a lot of this shit about defund, like I wasn't planning on going this long, but there's a lot of shit about defund the police movement that has to be addressed. And I gotta clip this, and I need you guys to share it. Because the reason why I drag Glenn is because Glenn is great on issue on national security. He's great on the concept of ending wars and ending military budgets. So how can you side with ending military budgets, ending police budgets, but then you go against defunding the police? The same police that trains with the Israeli cops that genocide the Palestinian people. So, someone said you lost the cop lovers. Like, if you're the cop lover, you're not on my side. This is what people need to understand. People say, oh my God, the black leftists are being divisive with defund the police movement. It's not us who don't have class solidarity. It's you. If you support the police state, you don't have class solidarity. Period. And I'm going to quickly go over some highlights here to just... And one more thing before I share my article that I wrote on defund the police. Find me the article. And I have no platform. Even this stream, 150 views, 13,000 subscribers, my Substack numbers compared to others, nothing. But show me an op-ed that fiercely defends giant police budgets, explains how giant police budgets reduce crime, and how supporting our police state is actually the pro-working class position. Don't worry, I'll wait. So I am daring you guys to find someone who wrote a paper with facts and the details. It took me about 2 months to write this paper because I studied multiple. I read from Angela Davis. I read from multiple abolitionists. I read through history, the history of the police. This took a lot of research for me to put this paper together. And my point is, you will never, ever find someone who defends giant police budgets that can put together facts that defend that. So I'm going to scroll through this quickly. Once again, U.S. police don't end up solving most crimes. Federal government data from 2018 shows that just 46% of violent crimes reported to the police was cleared with an arrest. 18% of property crimes were cleared. Meanwhile, it's around the same amount, and they're trying to pretend that this is something crazy that's happening. You see how they have it both ways? The propaganda, they have it both ways, where they say, oh my God, crime is falling. Like if the crime rate goes down, they will say, oh my God, the police is doing a great job. The police is doing a great job. So since the cops are doing such a great job, it's evidence that the system works. So we got to pay them more money. We got to give them more money. But when crime skyrockets, they say, oh my God, crime is out of control. We got to give them more money. You guys see how they never lose? You see how they, no matter if the crime goes up, no matter how the crime goes down, they always will justify giant police budgets. You guys know what's been shown consistently to lower the crime rate? Giving people housing, giving people health care, not giving people a living wage, giving people a thriving wage. Studies after studies and society after society has shown this decreases the crime rate and violent rates. Portugal and multiple countries that legalized drugs, Portugal legalized all drugs, and they had a sharp crime reduction. So who are the serious people in the conversation? The people who are advocating for the giant police budgets? Or the people who, like me, who co-founded 10 Demands, who want to set you on the path where you can decrease the crime rate by giving people health care, housing, and a thriving wage using the money that you guys paying the police, and they're not doing anything about the crime rate, right? So I debated Garland Nixon on this issue, and for the last 2 years, I've been like, guys, anyone who want to debate me on this issue, I'm down. Anyone who a big giant police bootlicker, if you're a right-wing populist who believe you're a fiscal conservative, they think they believe in don't tread on me. Don't tread on me. Unless it's the police who want to give you a regressive ticket. Unless it's the police who want to search your car because they smell weed. They smell weed in your car, so then they're going to take your shit via civil asset forfeiture. Oh, don't tread on me, but I want to support this system. If you're a right-wing populist and you watch this show, I am daring you to explain to me this position to me. I've been asking people for 2 years to explain how you are class conscious, how you are against the drug war, and you support giant police budgets. Steiger, Glenn, anyone. I debated Garland Nixon on this issue. Check it out on Sav's channel. Anyone. I'm willing to hear you out. Because the weakness of the left, the progressive left on this issue, as I said before, is unforgivable. And the last thing I'm going to say to wrap the stream up is I show you guys the success of the defund the police movement. Despite all the propaganda, I showed you guys how we actually shifted public perception. You guys understand, we did that despite people like Glenn Greenwald, people like Crystal Ball, the white progressives who fear-mongered over this phrase. Instead of trying to win people over and explain what us as black activists mean by police abolition, they joined the white liberal class in fear-mongering it. So despite that Crystal Ball breaking points, and this is what Crystal Ball said on her show. She said, I don't think defund the police is a good slogan. Bye, Felicia. So you guys understand that we made all the strides we did on this movement, despite the fact that the people that got way bigger platforms than me had been going against the movement. The people that y'all love, the Crystal Ball, the Steiger and Titties or whatever, right? I don't know how to say his last name. These people got way bigger platform than me, and they fear-monger over defund the police. Despite that, activists, we grinded. We put in work. We actually talked to workers. We explained to them how the police steal your wages. And now the tide is shifting. And that's why you had to see stories like these. You see stories like these all the time. I'm gonna give you guys an example. I'm literally just gonna Google defund the police, and I'm gonna show you how scared the establishment is. This is one. I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna just do a general search, and I'm gonna show you guys how absurd the propaganda that people who are even media critics, like Glenn Greenwald is a media critic, but even he will fall for it. Check this out. I'm gonna show you guys how terrified the establishment is of our movement. Here are a list of some stories. I'm gonna try to zoom out here. I think that may be easier to read. How can we honor? That's a good article. Here it is. This is from The Hill. The debacle of defunding the police is coming home to roost. Oh my God, the defund the police. It was a debacle. Oh man. How defund the police movement backfired. We shifted public perception. But you see how they got to make up shit. I just debunked this concept. Let's see what he said. I'm actually interested in the argument here. Over the last 2 decades, progressive has established new consistent on crime. But now rising crime is rapidly undermining progressive consistency. How? So the argument that they are making, they are saying that we had to defund the police movement. This is Michael Schellenberger. This is too easy. This guy said the defund the police movement is undermining because we got rising crime rates. What? That's the exact opposite. We increased the police budgets. Police budgets is skyrocketed. Eric Adams just gave them more money. The LAPD just got more money. So the police got more money, but then, as you admit, crime is rising. Oh my God. So crime is rising. So what should we do? How get people housing, get people health care, take care of people's material needs, not funding the police more. Now he provides stats here. What? Of course, many crime rates are still below what they were in the 80s. What? Bruh. Do you guys see this? This line, and I'm gonna read the chat. Let you guys know what you guys think. This line just destroyed your own premise. Are you serious, Michael? Michael, are you okay? Michael. Guys, listen to this article. Of course, many crime rates are still below what they was in the 80s. So before we massively exploded the police budgets, things are still... What? And then he says, the crime is rising, but you're like, oh, actually, it's not that bad. That's not that bad. So if it's not that bad, why are you advocating for the police to get more money? That's the argument. That doesn't make sense. Like, there's so many, like, whenever I read these stories, there's so many contradictions. Oh my God, the defund the police movement is causing a crime surge, but crime is actually lower than it was in the 80s. And define crime, but that's another conversation. That's a whole nother conversation. I got to cut myself short today. But today, it's clear the pendulum has swung too far in the other direction. Oh my God. Okay. You guys see why I wanted to debate these people? What would this guy say to me? What would this guy say? Anyway, I think I should wrap up, right? You guys see it. The people who advocate for defunding the police are deeply unserious people. They're not fiscally conservative. Even though they say they believe in small government and anti-authoritarianism, a lot of these right-wing populists, they say, oh my God, I'm against mandates. I'm against COVID vaccine mandates. But then they support the police state. You got Kim Iverson, who's like, oh my God, I don't like the vaccine mandate. So I'm gonna vote for the Republican Party who support the Patriot Act and support the police state. But I'm an anti-authoritarian. This has been very therapeutic because you guys have seen why real serious activists and people who actually read have been driven crazy by these deeply unserious authoritarian police state clowns. And that's all. I'll end the stream with that. I appreciate all you guys for watching. I know I went long. Jackson does all the time, man. I long 3-hour long live streams. Joe Rogan do 3 hours. I can do 3 hours. I may do it more often because we need to start breaking down these issues. There's so much shit in discourse right now that drives me crazy. I might do a live stream tomorrow anyway. I got a few more stories I still got covered, but I'm not gonna do it tonight. I literally might do a special live stream tomorrow because there's a few more stories that continue to debunk, like the people who push incrementalism. And these people dominate me. I don't got an inflated ego. I know these people dominate me in terms of ratings. Like the people that we diss, they get more views in 2 minutes of their live stream than we would for like an entire week. So they dominate the narrative, and we just are driven crazy because everyone is deeply unserious in this shit, man. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe to the Patreon if you guys want to support the channel. I don't think we have International Leftist Coalition tomorrow, but I'm going to hit up Josana and Kareem and them see if they want to join me because I might do a live stream tomorrow anyway because I have a few more. I still got a few more stories that we got to cover, man. Like, there's so much fucking shit going on. Like, when I see people cover stupid shit, I'm like, bro, you guys cover, like, they do, like, Fox News reaction videos. They do, like, all this stupid-ass shit. And I literally don't have enough time in a 3-hour show to cover all the crazy shit I see our state do. So I'm going to do a special live stream tomorrow as long as everything works out. So hit the bell. Hopefully you share the stream. We see. I might be able to throw a roundtable tomorrow. We see what we do. So thank you guys for watching. SocialistMMA, sign out.